The Colorado dawn crept through the pine trees, casting golden slivers across the log cabin in Willow Pines, a sleepy town nestled in the Rockies. Inside, Dr. Emily Harper stirred in bed, the familiar weight of Daisy, their German shepherd puppy, pressed against her side. At 36, Emily's auburn hair spilled over the pillow, her artist's hand still smudged with ink from late-night sketching. Daisy, just 8 weeks old, had been rescued from a local sanctuary, her black and tan fur and soulful brown eyes stealing Emily's heart. But for 3 nights now, the puppy's behavior had shifted, curling protectively around Emily, refusing to leave her side, her low whines waking the house. Emily's husband, Dr. Ryan Mitchell, a 38-year-old veterinarian with dark hair and a gentle smile, stood in the doorway, watching. It was January 2025, and their newborn daughter, Grace, slept in the nursery, unaware of the storm brewing. She's at it again," Ryan said, his voice soft but tinged with worry, nodding at Daisy. The puppy's ears twitched, her gaze fixed on the window, a faint growl rumbling. Emily sat up, stroking Daisy's head. "She knows," she whispered, tears pricking her eyes. "Somehow, she knows, before we did." Ryan's brow furrowed. His coffee mug paused mid-sip. "Knows what, babe?" Emily's hand rested on her stomach, her voice trembling. "I'm pregnant, Ryan. I took the test yesterday." Ryan's mug clattered to the nightstand, his eyes wide, tears welling. "Pregnant? After everything?" 5 years of heartbreak, 2 miscarriages, endless tests, made the word feel like a miracle. Daisy yipped, nuzzling Emily, as if sealing the moment. The news spread through Willow Pines like wildfire, the town's tight-knit community buzzing with joy. Ryan's colleague, Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, clapped him on the back at the sanctuary. "Daisy's got a 6th sense," she said, her gray ponytail swinging. "Canine instincts, Ryan. She's your guardian now." But as weeks passed, Daisy's protectiveness grew uncanny. When Emily's pregnancy was confirmed, the puppy began nightly vigils by the nursery door even before Grace's crib was set up. She'd pace, growl at shadows, and refuse to eat until Emily was near. Ryan chalked it up to instinct, but Emily felt a deeper pull, her illustrator's intuition whispering, Daisy was watching for something. Their friend Claire Evans, a 32-year-old freelance photographer, offered to babysit when Grace arrived, her warm smile and long history with Emily making her a natural choice. "I'm your gal," Claire said, tossing her blonde hair, cradling Grace at the hospital. But Daisy's reaction was instant, hackles up, a low growl, her brown eyes locked on Claire. "She's just jealous," Emily laughed, brushing it off, though unease flickered in her chest. Daisy had never growled at anyone, not even strangers at the sanctuary. That night, as Grace slept, Daisy refused to leave the crib, her tiny body pressed against it, ears pinned, staring at the nursery window. The Willow Pines air grew colder as spring approached, and Daisy's behavior intensified. She'd wake Emily with urgent barks, leading her to Grace's crib, where nothing seemed amiss. Ryan's canine, Scout, a seasoned German shepherd from the sanctuary, began mirroring Daisy's unease, sniffing Claire's bag during visits. "Maybe she smells something off," Ryan said, half joking, but his eyes were troubled. Emily's unease grew, her dreams haunted by Daisy's growls, Grace's cries, and a shadowy figure at the window. "She's protecting her," Emily said, tears welling, watching Daisy curl around Grace's blanket. "But from what?" Then the twist hit like a winter gust. Emily's phone buzzed at midnight, a text from an unknown number. "Keep the pup away from the kid, Harper. You don't want trouble." Attached was a grainy photo of Grace's nursery, taken from outside. Daisy's silhouette stark against the crib, her eyes glowing in the dark. Emily's heart stopped, tears streaming as she showed Ryan, who grabbed his phone to call Sheriff Ben Carter. "Someone's watching us," he said, voice shaking, Scout's growl echoing. Daisy's yips filled the cabin, her tiny form trembling but defiant, as if she'd known the danger all along. The Denali ice field was far from Willow Pines, but its shadows felt close, and Emily clutched Grace, realizing Daisy wasn't just a pet. She was a sentinel, guarding a secret that would stun them all. Willow Pines, Colorado, was a postcard of rugged charm, its pine-clad hills and log cabins hugging the edge of a wildlife sanctuary where the Rockies whispered secrets. In the heart of this small town, Dr. Emily Harper sat in her cozy living room, sketching a children's book under the soft glow of a lamp. At 36, Emily's auburn hair was pulled into a messy bun, her green eyes tired but warm as she glanced at her newborn daughter Grace, sleeping in a bassinet. Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, lay curled beside it, her black and tan fur rising with shallow breaths, brown eyes fixed on the nursery door. It was March 2025. And the quiet of Willow Pines felt fragile after a chilling text. "Keep the pup away from the kid, Harper." And a photo of Grace's nursery, Daisy's silhouette guarding her crib. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's husband, a 38-year-old veterinarian with dark hair and a steady gaze, paced the kitchen, phone in hand. "Sheriff Carter's looking into the text," he said, voice low, joining Emily on the couch. "No trace yet, but he's pulling call logs." Emily's sketchpad trembled, tears pricking her eyes. "Who'd watch Grace, Ryan? Why Daisy?" Ryan knelt, squeezing her hand, his own eyes misty. "She's protecting her, Em, like she knew you were pregnant before we did." Daisy's ears twitched, her growl soft but vigilant, as if sensing the weight of their words. The town buzzed with concern, its close-knit folks rallying around the Harpers. Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist at the sanctuary, stopped by with coffee, her gray ponytail swinging. "Daisy's got canine instincts," she said, voice firm, petting Scout, Ryan's German Shepherd, who sat alert by the door. "She's not growling at Claire for nothing." Claire Evans, their 32-year-old friend and babysitter, had been a fixture since college, her blonde hair and easy laugh masking any hint of deceit. But Daisy's hostility, growling, pacing, refusing to let Claire near Grace, had grown undeniable. "She's never liked her," Emily said, tears welling, recalling Daisy's tense stares. "But Claire loves Grace, doesn't she?" Ryan's jaw tightened, his voice raw. "Scout's acting off too, sniffing her bag every time she's here." The sanctuary, where Daisy and Scout were rescued, was a haven for injured animals, but whispers of local crime, break-ins, missing pets, had crept into Willow Pines. Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face and steady calm, had warned of outsiders scoping the town. "Could be nothing," he'd said, "but keep your eyes open." Emily's unease deepened, her illustrator's imagination painting shadows in every corner, Daisy's growls a constant echo. Claire arrived that afternoon, her camera bag slung over her shoulder, her smile bright but strained. "Ready to spoil Gracie," she said, cooing at the bassinet. But Daisy's hackles rose, a low growl rumbling as she positioned herself between Claire and Grace. "Easy, pup," Claire said, laughing nervously, stepping back. Emily forced a smile, tears hidden, but her heart raced. "She's just protective," she said, stroking Daisy, whose eyes never left Claire. Ryan exchanged a glance with Lisa, his voice low. "Something's off, Em. Daisy's not wrong." Scout's nose twitched, sniffing Claire's bag, his growl mirroring Daisy's. As Claire played with Grace, Emily slipped into the nursery, checking the security cameras installed after Daisy's adoption, a permit requirement for sanctuary rescues. The footage was clear, but nothing stood out, just Daisy's relentless vigils. "What do you see, girl?" Emily whispered, tears falling, Daisy's warm body pressing against her leg. Ryan joined her, his arm around her, tears in his eyes. "We trust Daisy," he said, voice breaking. "But Claire, she's family, right?" The question hung heavy, their trust in Claire fraying under Daisy's unwavering suspicion. The twist hit like a cold snap. As Claire left, Emily's phone buzzed again. A new text from an unknown number. "Tell the pup to back off or Grace pays." Attached was a video, grainy but unmistakable. Claire in the nursery, late at night, placing a tiny device under Grace's crib. Daisy's growl faint in the background. Emily's sob tore free, Ryan's face paling as he grabbed his phone to call Ben. "She's not who we thought," he said, tears streaming, Scout's bark echoing through the cabin. Daisy's yips filled the room, her tiny form standing guard by Grace, as if she'd known the truth all along. Willow Pines' quiet facade had cracked, and Emily clutched Grace, realizing Daisy wasn't just a pet. She was their sentinel, exposing a danger that would shatter their world. The spring air in Willow Pines, Colorado, carried a chill that clung to the bones, despite the budding pines lining the town's quiet streets. Inside the Harper's log cabin, Dr. Emily Harper sat on the nursery floor, her auburn hair falling loose, her green eyes rimmed with tears as she cradled her 3-month-old daughter, Grace. Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, pressed against the crib, her black and tan fur bristling, brown eyes locked on the door with a low growl. It was March 2025, and the cozy warmth of the cabin felt like a lie after a chilling discovery. Security footage showing Claire Evans, their trusted babysitter, planting a hidden camera under Grace's crib. The anonymous texts, "Keep the pup away," and "Back off, or Grace pays," had turned Emily's world upside down. Daisy's relentless vigils no longer a quirk, but a warning. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, stood in the doorway, his dark hair disheveled, his face pale as he rewatched the footage on his laptop. "Sheriff Carter's got the video," he said, voice tight, tears glistening. "He's pulling Claire's records, but, how did we miss this?" Emily's sob caught in her throat, her illustrator's hands trembling as she stroked Grace's tiny head. "She's family, Ryan," she whispered, tears falling. How could she do this to Grace? Daisy's growl deepened, her tiny body rigid, as if sensing the betrayal that had shattered their trust. The Willow Pines community buzzed with unease, its small-town charm tainted by whispers of crime, stolen pets, break-ins, and now this. Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist from the sanctuary where Daisy was rescued, sat at the kitchen table, her gray ponytail tight, eyes sharp. "Daisy's instincts are canine grade," she said, petting Scout, Ryan's German Shepherd, who paced by the door, nose twitching. "She's not growling at Claire for kicks, Em. Something's wrong." Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face and steady calm, arrived, his badge glinting. "Claire's clean on paper," he said, voice low, "but I'm digging deeper. That camera's no toy. It's pro-grade, linked to a server we can't trace yet." Emily's heart raced, tears streaming as she looked at Daisy, whose growls had saved Grace from an unseen threat. "She won't let Claire near her," she said, voice breaking. "She barks every time Claire's in the house, Ryan. Even Scout's on edge." Ryan nodded, his voice raw. "Scout sniffed Claire's bag yesterday, growled like he smelled something bad." I thought it was just jealousy. Lisa's eyes narrowed, tears glinting. Canines don't lie, she said. Daisy's telling you Claire's not right. Trust her. Ben scribbled notes, his voice grim. I've seen gear like that in trafficking cases, cameras, transmitters. We need more footage, Em. The nursery, once a haven of pastel blues and stuffed animals, felt like a crime scene. Emily checked the security cameras again, Daisy's warmth at her side grounding her. The footage showed Claire's subtle moves, slipping devices into Grace's crib, her glances at the door, Daisy's growls escalating each time. She's been doing this for weeks, Emily said, tears falling, showing Ryan a clip from a month ago. Why didn't we see it? Ryan's hand shook, tears in his eyes. We trusted her, Em. She's been your friend since college. Scout's bark interrupted, his nose pressed to Claire's forgotten jacket on the couch, a faint beep sounding from a pocket. Stay back, Ben said, pulling on gloves, retrieving a tiny transmitter, its red light blinking. This is live, he said, voice tense, bagging it. It's broadcasting somewhere. Daisy's yips turned frantic, her tiny paws scrabbling at the nursery door, as if urging them to act. Lisa's voice was urgent, tears falling. That's no nanny cam, Ben. It's surveillance tech, high-end, like the kind used in worse things. Emily's sob tore free, clutching Grace. Worse things? Like what, Lisa? What's she doing to my baby? Ryan's arm wrapped around her, his voice breaking. We'll find out, Em. Daisy's got us this far. Claire called that afternoon, her voice chipper over the phone. Hey, Em, can I swing by to watch Gracie tonight? Give you two a break? Emily's blood ran cold, tears streaming, but Ben nodded, whispering, keep her talking. Emily forced a smile into her voice. Sure, Claire, that'd be great. 7 work? As she hung up, her hands shook, Daisy's growl a steady hum. She's walking into a trap, Ben said, his voice grim. I'll have deputies ready. We need her in the act. Ryan's face hardened, tears glinting. She's not touching Grace again. The twist hit like a mountain gust. As Ben left to set up surveillance, Scout's nose led Ryan to the nursery closet, where a faint glow pulsed from a hidden panel. He pried it open, revealing a second camera, wired to a transmitter, its lens aimed at Grace's crib. But the feed wasn't local. It was streaming to an external server, labeled PineNet. Emily's scream choked in her throat, tears falling as she clutched Grace. She's been filming her for weeks, she said, voice raw. Ryan's tears streamed, his voice a snarl. PineNet. That's the mayor's tech firm. Ben's eyes widened, tears glinting. Mayor Ellis? He's clean, Em. Or so we thought. Daisy's yips filled the cabin, her tiny form standing guard, as if she'd sensed the true enemy all along. Willow Pines's heart was rotting, and Emily knew Daisy's instincts were their only guide to a truth that would stun the town. The Willow Pines night was a shroud of frost and secrets, the Colorado pines swaying under a March moon that barely pierced the clouds. Inside the Harper's log cabin, Dr. Emily Harper sat rigid on the couch, her auburn hair loose, green eyes glistening with tears as she clutched her 3-month-old daughter, Grace. Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, stood guard by the nursery door, her black and tan fur bristling, brown eyes locked on the front entrance with a low, steady growl. It was March 2025, and the cozy cabin felt like a trap after a chilling discovery. Security footage showing Claire Evans, their trusted babysitter, planting cameras and transmitters in Grace's crib, tied to a shadowy network labeled PineNet. Anonymous texts, "Keep the pup away," and "Back off or Grace pays," had shattered Emily's trust, and Daisy's relentless vigils were now a lifeline. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, paced the living room, his dark hair mussed, face pale with rage and fear. "Sheriff Carter's got deputies outside," he said, voice tight, checking his phone. "Claire's due any minute." Emily's hands trembled, tears streaming as she kissed Grace's forehead. "How could she do this, Ryan?" she choked, voice breaking. "She's been my friend for years." Daisy's growl deepened, her tiny body tense, as if sensing the betrayal that had turned their home into a battlefield. Scout, Ryan's German shepherd, sat by the window, his ears pinned, mirroring Daisy's unease. The discovery of a second camera in the nursery closet, streaming to PineNet, a server linked to Mayor Ellis's tech firm, had rocked Willow Pines. Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, had set a trap, using Claire's scheduled babysitting night to catch her in the act. Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, hovered nearby, her gray ponytail tight, tears glinting in her eyes. "Daisy's instincts are sharper than any canine I've trained," she said, petting Scout. "She's protecting Grace from something big." Emily's sob caught, her illustrator's imagination haunted by the footage of Claire's sly moves. "Big like what, Lisa?" she asked, voice raw. "What's she doing to my baby?" Ben's voice cut through, low and grim. "That tech's used in trafficking rings, kids, pets, you name it. PineNet's no local startup. We're talking organized crime." Ryan's fist clenched, tears falling. "Mayor Ellis, he's been at our barbecues, Em. How's he tied to this?" Ben's jaw tightened, tears in his eyes. "We don't know yet, but Claire's our way in. Stay calm, let her walk into it." Daisy's yips sharpened, her tiny paws scrabbling at the door as headlights flashed outside Claire's car pulling into the drive. Claire stepped in, her blonde hair tucked under a beanie, her smile bright but brittle. "Hey, y'all, ready for some Gracie time?" she said, setting her camera bag down. But Daisy erupted, lunging with a snarl, stopping short of Claire's legs. "Whoa, Daisy," Claire laughed, stepping back, her eyes darting to the nursery. Emily forced a smile, tears hidden, heart pounding. "She's just excited," she said, clutching Grace, Daisy's growls a steady drum. Ryan's hand grazed his concealed pistol, his voice strained. "Let's get Grace settled, Claire." Scout's hackles rose, sniffing Claire's bag, a faint beep sounding from within. As Claire moved toward the nursery, Daisy blocked her, teeth bared, her tiny form a wall of fury. "Okay, pup, chill," Claire said, her laugh nervous, reaching for her bag. But Scout's bark was thunderous, pinning the bag, and Ben stepped forward, badge flashing. "Hands up, Claire," he said, voice cold. "We've got you on tape." Claire's smile vanished, her face paling as deputies burst in, cuffs ready. What's this?" she stammered, tears welling, but Daisy's snarls drowned her words, lunging at the bag, ripping it open to reveal a blinking transmitter, identical to the nursery's. "You filmed our daughter," Emily said, voice breaking, tears streaming as she held Grace. "Why, Claire, why her?" Claire's eyes darted, her voice shaky. "It's not what you think, Em. I was just—" But Ryan's shout cut her off, tears falling. "You're done lying!" He grabbed the transmitter, its red light pulsing. Ben's voice was grim, tears glinting. "This is broadcasting live, Claire, to PineNet. Who's on the other end?" Claire's tears fell, her voice a whisper. "You don't understand. They'll kill me!" The twist hit like a rockslide. Daisy's mother, a scarred German shepherd from the sanctuary, burst through the open door, her howl chilling as she tackled Claire, pinning her to the floor. Deputies froze, guns drawn, but Lisa's voice was sharp, tears streaming. "Stand down! She's trained! She's Daisy's kin!" The dog's collar glinted, etched with Sanctuary Alpha, and a microchip blinked. broadcasting a signal. "She's chipped," Ryan said, voice trembling, scanning it with his vet tool. "It's linked to PineNet." Emily's sob tore free, tears falling. "They chipped her? Like the cameras?" Ben's eyes widened, tears glinting. "The sanctuary. Ellis funds it. He's been rigging rescues, tracking them." Claire's scream pierced the chaos, tears streaming. "It wasn't me." "Ellis. He runs it all." Deputies cuffed her, but Daisy's yips turned frantic, her tiny body darting to the nursery, sniffing a new device, a motion sensor wired to the crib, blinking red. "It's a trap," Ben yelled, tears falling, diving for Grace as the sensor beeped, a faint click sounding from the wall. Ryan tackled Emily and Grace to the floor, Scout and Daisy's mother shielding them, as a hidden panel sparked, a small explosion rocking the cabin, smoke curling from the nursery. Emily's scream echoed, tears streaming, clutching Grace. "They're after her!" Daisy's howls joined her mother's, a vow of defiance. And James knew the mayor's shadow loomed, and Daisy's instincts were their only hope against a truth that would stun Willow Pines. The Willow Pines night was a jagged wound, the acrid scent of smoke lingering in the Harper's log cabin after a small explosion rocked the nursery, tripped by a motion sensor rigged to Grace's crib. Dr. Emily Harper clutched her 3-month-old daughter, her auburn hair falling loose, green eyes streaming tears as she huddled in the living room. At 36, Emily's heart pounded, her illustrator's hands shaking as she held Grace tight. Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, stood guard, black and tan fur bristling, brown eyes fierce despite her tiny size, growling at the nursery door. It was March 2025, and the cozy cabin, nestled in Colorado's pine-clad hills, felt like a war zone after Claire Evans, their babysitter, was caught planting surveillance devices linked to PineNet, a server tied to Mayor Ellis. Claire's confession: Ellis runs it all. And Daisy's mother, a sanctuary German shepherd, exposing a chipped collar broadcasting to the same network, had shattered Willow Pine's small-town facade. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, knelt by Daisy, his dark hair mussed, face pale with fury and fear, tears glistening as he checked Scout, his German shepherd, for injuries. "The nursery's secure," he said, voice hoarse, wiping blood from a cut on his hand. Ben's team got the device before it did real damage. Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, stood by the shattered nursery window, his badge glinting as deputies bagged the sensor. "Claire's in custody," he said, voice grim, tears in his eyes, "but PineNet's bigger than her." "That chip in Daisy's mom. It's military-grade, Em." Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, examined the collar, her gray ponytail tight, tears falling. "Sanctuary dogs are chipped for tracking," she said, voice trembling. "But this? It's streaming to Ellis's servers." Emily's sob tore free, tears streaming as she rocked Grace. "They're watching her, Ryan," she said, voice breaking. "Our baby. For what?" Daisy's yips were frantic, her tiny paws scrabbling at the nursery floor, sniffing where the sensor had sparked. Scout's growl echoed, his nose pressed to a wall panel, unearthing a second device, a microphone, its wire scorched but blinking. "Another one?" Ryan's voice cracked, tears falling as he ripped it free. "How many, Ben?" Ben's jaw clenched, tears glinting. "We're sweeping the house. Ellis's firm. It's a front." "Trafficking, kids, animals, you name it." The revelation burned like the embers in the nursery. Claire's cameras, Daisy's growls, the texts, "Back off or Grace pays," pointed to a network rooted in Willow Pine's heart. "Mayor Ellis?" Emily choked, tears streaming, clutching Grace. He sponsored the sanctuary, Ryan. He held Grace at her christening. Lisa's voice was fierce, tears in her eyes. He's been rigging rescues, chipping them to track God knows what. Daisy's mother, named Raven by the sanctuary, sat by the crib, her scarred muzzle steady, glowing eyes locked on the door, as if guarding against the unseen. "We need answers," Ryan said, voice raw, tears falling as he stood, fist clenched. "Ben, what's the play?" Ben's radio crackled, his voice steady despite the tears. "We're raiding Claire's place tonight, but Ellis is slippery." "I need you to check the sanctuary logs, Lisa. Any chipped dogs, any link to PineNet." Emily's voice trembled, tears streaming. Daisy knew Ben. From the start, she wouldn't let Claire near Grace. Daisy's growl softened, her tiny body pressing against Emily as if anchoring her. Scout's bark was sharp, sniffing a nursery toy. A stuffed bear, its seam split, revealing a third device, a tiny lens glinting. "Jesus," Ryan said, tears falling, smashing the bear against the wall, the lens shattering. "They're everywhere." Lisa's sob was raw, tears streaming. "That's no pet cam, Em. It's live streaming. To buyers." Emily's scream choked, tears falling as she clutched Grace tighter. "Buyers." "For Grace?" Ben's voice was grim, tears glinting. "Child trafficking, Em. PineNet's a dark web hub." "Claire's just a cog." Daisy's yips turned urgent, her paws digging at the nursery rug, unearthing a hidden wire leading to the wall, its end frayed but pulsing. The team moved, Ben's deputies sweeping the cabin, Lisa scanning Raven's chip with a sanctuary reader. "It's broadcasting," she said, tears falling, voice shaking. "Locations, vitals, to Ellis's server." Ryan's hand shook, tears streaming as he checked Daisy's collar, finding a faint scar. A chip, dormant but identical. "They chipped her too," he said, voice breaking, cradling Daisy. "Our pup, she was their tracker." Emily's tears fell, her voice raw. "She fought it, Ryan. She protected Grace." Scout's growl deepened, pointing to the nursery window where a shadow flickered, a drone, its camera glinting, hovering outside. "Down!" Ben shouted, tears falling, diving as the drone buzzed, a red laser dot dancing across Grace's crib. Ryan tackled Emily and Grace behind the couch, Scout and Raven snarling, Daisy's tiny jaws snapping at the air. A deputy fired, shattering the drone, its wreckage sparking on the lawn. "They're watching us now," Ben said, voice grim, tears glinting, radio crackling with orders. "Ellis knows we're onto him." Emily's sob was raw, tears streaming, clutching Grace. "He's the mayor, Ben. How do we fight this?" Ryan's voice was fierce, tears falling. "We trust Daisy. She's gotten us this far." The twist hit like a pine falling in a storm. Lisa's scanner beeped, pulling data from Raven's chip. A log, encrypted, listing PineNet targets, including Grace's name and a timestamp. Acquisition scheduled March 30th, 2025. Emily's scream tore through the cabin, tears streaming. "They're coming for her. Tomorrow?" Ryan's tears fell, his voice a snarl. "Not while we're breathing." Ben's eyes widened, tears glinting. "The log, it's got names, Em." "Other kids, other towns. Ellis isn't just local. He's running a network across the state." Daisy's howls joined Raven's, a primal vow, as Scout stood guard, their family a fortress. The cabin's walls closed in, Willow Pines' heart exposed as a lie, and Emily knew Daisy's instincts were their only shield against a truth that would stun the world. The Willow Pines' dawn was a fragile promise, the Colorado pines casting long shadows across the Harper's smoke-damaged log cabin, where the air still reeked of burnt wiring from a near-fatal explosion in the nursery. Dr. Emily Harper sat on the living room floor, her auburn hair tangled, green eyes red from tears as she cradled her 3-month-old daughter, Grace. At 36, Emily's hands trembled, her illustrator's instincts screaming danger as Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, paced by the crib, black and tan fur bristling, brown eyes locked on the nursery window with a low growl. It was March 30th, 2025, and the cabin, once a haven in Willow Pine's tight-knit community, felt like a cage after Claire Evans's arrest. Security footage had exposed Claire planting cameras for PineNet, a trafficking network tied to Mayor Ellis, and a chilling log from a chipped sanctuary dog revealed Grace as a target for acquisition today. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, stood by the shattered nursery door, his dark hair mussed face etched with rage and fear, tears glistening as he clutched a phone. "Sheriff Carter's raiding Ellis's office," he said, voice hoarse, wiping a cut on his cheek. Claire's talking, but she's scared, Em. Emily's sob caught, tears streaming as she kissed Grace's forehead. "They're coming for her, Ryan," she whispered, voice breaking. Today. Daisy's yips were urgent, her tiny paws scrabbling at the floor as if sensing the ticking clock. Scout, Ryan's German Shepherd, growled by the window, his nose twitching, while Raven, Daisy's scarred mother from the sanctuary, sat sentinel, her glowing eyes fierce. The discovery of PineNet's log, listing Grace and other children as targets, had rocked Willow Pines. Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, pored over Raven's chip data at the kitchen table, her gray ponytail loose, tears falling. "This chip's streaming to a server in Denver," she said, voice trembling, tapping her tablet. "Ellis's firm isn't just local. It's a hub." Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, coordinated deputies outside, his badge glinting. "We've got roadblocks up," he said, voice grim, tears in his eyes. "But Ellis is gone. Skipped town last night. Claire says he's got a safe house." Emily's heart pounded, tears streaming as she looked at Daisy, whose growls had saved Grace from Claire's cameras. "She knew from day one," she said, voice raw, stroking Daisy's head. "She wouldn't let Claire near her." Ryan knelt, tears falling, his hand on Scout. Scout sniffed it too, Claire's bag, the devices. "They're trained, Em, but Daisy, she's something else." Lisa's voice was fierce, tears glinting. "Canine instincts, honed by survival. Raven's chip. It's got logs of other kids, other towns." "We're talking dozens." Ben's radio crackled, his voice steady despite the tears. "We're hitting Claire's apartment for more evidence. Em, Ryan, stay put. Deputies are outside." The nursery, its pastel walls scorched, was a crime scene, but Daisy's presence grounded Emily. She rewatched the footage, Claire's sly moves, planting transmitters, glancing at doors, now paired with Raven's chip data, a chilling map of PineNet's reach. "They've been at this for years," Emily said, tears falling, showing Ryan a log entry. Target, Grace Harper, acquisition 3/30/25. Ryan's fist clenched, tears streaming. Ellis held her M. At her baptism. "How do we fight a mayor?" Lisa's sob was raw, tears falling. "You trust Daisy. She's your shield." Ben's deputy, a young woman named Tara, burst in, tears in her eyes. "We found Claire's laptop, emails to Ellis, orders for live feeds. It's kids, Em." Emily's scream choked, tears streaming, clutching Grace. "Live feeds." "For buyers?" Tara nodded, tears falling. "Dark web auctions. Grace was next." Daisy's growls turned frantic, her tiny body darting to the nursery, sniffing a drawer, a rattle, its handle hollow, hiding a fourth device, a blinking tracker. "Another one?" Ryan's voice broke, tears falling, smashing it. "They're in our walls!" The team scrambled, deputies sweeping the cabin, Lisa cross-referencing Raven's chip with sanctuary records. "Ellis chipped every rescue," she said, tears streaming, voice shaking. "Dogs, cats, trackers for his network." Ryan's scanner beeped, checking Daisy's collar. A dormant chip, identical to Raven's. "She's got one too," he said, tears falling, cradling Daisy. "Our pup. She was their pawn." Emily's tears streamed, her voice raw. She fought it, Ryan, for Grace. Scout's bark was sharp, pointing to the backyard, where a faint hum sounded. A second drone, its camera glinting, hovering over the pines. "Get down!" Ben yelled, tears falling, diving as the drone's laser dot danced across the nursery. Ryan shoved Emily and Grace behind a bookcase, Scout and Raven snarling, Daisy's tiny jaws snapping. Tara fired, downing the drone, its wreckage sparking in the snow. "Ellis's men," Ben said, voice grim, tears glinting, radio buzzing. "They're close." Emily's sob was raw, tears streaming, clutching Grace. "They won't stop, Ben. What do we do?" Ryan's voice was fierce, tears falling. "We find his safe house. Daisy's got us this far." The twist hit like a collapsing ridge. Raven's chip beeped, pulling a hidden file, a blueprint of Ellis's safe house, 20 miles from Willow Pines, labeled PineNet Hub. But the file listed a second name, Dr. Alan Voss, a sanctuary donor, Claire's silent partner, and Ellis's brother-in-law. Emily's blood froze, tears streaming. "Voss. He trained Daisy's litter," she choked, remembering his visits. Ryan's tears fell, his voice a snarl. "He's been in our home, Em." Ben's eyes widened, tears glinting. "Voss is the brains, Ellis is the face. They're both PineNet." Daisy's howls joined Raven's, Scout's bark a war cry as the cabin's lights flickered, a distant engine roaring. Willow Pines was a battlefield, and Emily knew Daisy's instincts were their only weapon against a truth that would stun the world. The Willow Pines' dusk was a veil of menace, the Colorado pines swaying under a sky bruised with storm clouds, their shadows clawing at the Harpers' smoke-scarred log cabin. Dr. Emily Harper stood in the nursery, her auburn hair tangled, green eyes streaming tears as she clutched her 3-month-old daughter, Grace, to her chest. At 36, Emily's hands shook, her illustrator's instincts screaming as Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, growled by the crib, black and tan fur bristling, brown eyes fixed on the window where a drone's wreckage smoldered in the snow. It was March 30th, 2025, and the cabin, nestled in Willow Pines' once safe heart, was a fortress under siege. Claire Evans, their babysitter, was in custody, her cameras exposed by Daisy's vigilance, linked to PineNet, a trafficking network run by Mayor Ellis and Dr. Alan Voss, his brother-in-law and sanctuary donor. Raven's chip from Daisy's mother had revealed a safe house 20 miles away, a PineNet hub, and a chilling plan to acquire Grace today. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, gripped his pistol, dark hair matted with sweat, face pale with fury, tears glistening as he checked Scout, his German Shepherd, for wounds. "Ben's team is moving on the safe house," he said, voice raw, wiping blood from a cut on his arm. "Ellis and Voss, they're there." Emily's sob tore free, tears falling as she rocked Grace. "They're coming for her, Ryan," she choked, voice breaking. "Daisy knew, all along." Daisy's yips were frantic, her tiny paws scrabbling at the nursery rug, as if sensing the enemy closing in. Raven, Daisy's scarred mother, stood sentinel, her glowing eyes fierce, while Scout growled at the door, ears pinned. Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, coordinated deputies from the living room, his badge glinting under the flickering lights. "We've got Claire's laptop, emails to Voss, orders for kids' feeds," he said, voice grim, tears in his eyes. "But Ellis's got muscle, hired guns, Em." Doctor. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, analyzed Raven's chip data, her gray ponytail loose, tears streaming. "The chip's got names," she said, voice trembling, tapping her tablet. "Dozens of kids, across Colorado. Pine Net's a monster." Emily's heart pounded, tears falling as she looked at Daisy, whose growls had saved Grace. "She's been fighting for her," she said, voice raw. "But Voss trained her litter, Ryan." "He was in our home." Ryan's fist clenched, tears streaming. "He chipped Daisy, turned her into a tracker," he said, voice breaking, cradling the puppy. "But she chose us, Em." Scout's bark cut through, pointing to the backyard, where a faint rustle sounded. Footsteps, too close. "They're here," Ben hissed, tears glinting, signaling deputies to fan out. Emily's scream caught, tears falling, clutching Grace. "They won't take her, Ben." Lisa's voice was fierce, tears streaming. "Daisy's your shield, Em. Trust her." Raven's howl shook the cabin, her glowing eyes locked on the window, as if daring the shadows to advance. The front door rattled, a loud knock echoing. "Sheriff Carter, it's Deputy Tara!" a voice called, but Scout's growl was thunderous, Raven's hackles rising, Daisy's yips a piercing alarm. "That's not Tara," Ryan whispered, tears falling, pistol raised. Ben's radio crackled, no Tara nearby. "Get back!" he shouted, tears glinting as the door burst open, two men in black tactical gear storming in, rifles drawn, night fang crescents on their sleeves. "The kid now!" one barked, but Daisy lunged, tiny jaws snapping at a leg, tripping him. Raven charged, tackling the second, her teeth sinking into his arm, while Scout pinned the first, snarling. Emily dove behind the couch, tears streaming, shielding Grace as bullets grazed the walls. Ryan fired, clipping an operative's shoulder, his voice a roar. "Stay away from my daughter!" Ben's deputies stormed in, subduing the men, cuffs snapping, but the nursery window shattered, a third operative climbing through, knife glinting. Daisy's mother leaped, jaws crushing his wrist, the knife clattering, her howl a war cry. "Go!" Ben yelled, tears falling, shoving Emily toward the back door, Ryan covering her, Scout and Daisy at their heels. They stumbled into the snowy backyard, deputies forming a perimeter, but a black SUV roared up, its headlights blinding. "Ellis!" Ryan shouted, tears streaming, recognizing the mayor's car. The door opened, but it wasn't Ellis. Dr. Alan Voss stepped out, his 65-year-old face cold, a pistol in hand. "You should have backed off, Harper," he said, voice like ice, tears absent. Emily's sob was raw, tears falling, clutching Grace. "You trained Daisy? You monster!" Voss's laugh was chilling. "She was my prototype, chipped, tracked, perfect for Pine Net. But she chose you." Pity. The twist hit like a landslide. Raven's chip beeped, Lisa's tablet flashing a new file. A video streamed live from the safe house showing Ellis, bound, pleading. "Voss runs it. I'm just the money." Emily's blood froze, tears streaming. "You betrayed your own brother-in-law?" she choked, Grace's cries piercing her heart. Voss's smile was venom. Ellis was weak. "He just My serum made the dogs, the kids, perfect assets. Grace is next. Ryan's tears fell, his voice a snarl. You'll never touch her. Ben's deputies advanced, but Voss fired, a bullet grazing Scout, his yelp shattering the night. Daisy's howl was primal, her tiny form leaping at Voss, claws raking his leg, toppling him. Raven and Scout charged, pinning him, their glowing eyes a vow of vengeance. Deputies cuffed Voss, his cold gaze burning, but Lisa's voice was urgent, tears streaming. The chip. It's got the safe house feed. Kids. Dozens. Locked there. Emily's tears fell, her voice raw. Other kids? Like Grace? Ben's radio buzzed, tears glinting. Feds are hitting the safe house now. Daisy gave us the map. Ryan cradled Scout, tears streaming, Daisy's yips a beacon. The pines loomed, Willow Pine's heart a battlefield, and Emily knew Daisy's instincts had cracked. Pine net. But the fight for Grace and others was far from over. The Willow Pine's night was a frozen battlefield, the Colorado pines shrouded in a March blizzard, their branches snapping under the weight of snow and secrets. Dr. Emily Harper sprinted through the icy forest behind her log cabin, her auburn hair whipping in the wind, green eyes streaming tears as she clutched her 3-month-old daughter, Grace, to her chest. At 36, Emily's heart pounded, her illustrator's instincts screaming as she dodged pine roots, the glow of flashlights and gunfire piercing the storm. Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, ran beside her, black and tan fur matted with snow, brown eyes fierce, yipping to guide the way. It was March 30th, 2025, and Willow Pines, once a cozy haven, was a war zone after Claire Evans's arrest exposed Pine Net, a child trafficking network led by Dr. Alan Voss, with Mayor Ellis as his pawn. Raven's chip, from Daisy's sanctuary mother, had revealed a safe house 20 miles away holding dozens of children, and Voss's betrayal, Ellis was weak, had unleashed a deadly assault on the Harpers' home. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, covered her flank, his dark hair slick with sweat, face pale with fear, tears falling as he fired his pistol at Night Fang operatives closing in. "Keep moving, Em!" he shouted, voice raw, blood dripping from a graze on his arm. Scout, his German Shepherd, limped beside him, blood matting his fur, snarling despite a bullet wound. Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, led deputies through the trees, his badge glinting under flashlight beams, tears in his eyes. "Feds are hitting the safe house," he yelled, voice grim, firing at a shadow. "Hold 'em off!" Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, ran with them, her gray ponytail loose, tears streaming as she clutched Raven's chip data, a blueprint to Pine Net's lair. Emily's sob tore free, tears freezing on her cheeks as she shielded Grace. "They're after her, Ryan," she cried, voice breaking, Daisy's yips a lifeline in the chaos. The safe house raid was underway, but Voss's operatives, marked by Night Fang crescents, had ambushed the cabin, their drones and gunfire a desperate bid to silence the Harpers. Raven, Daisy's scarred mother, charged ahead, her glowing eyes cutting through the snow, jaws snapping at an operative who lunged from the pines, rifle raised. "Get the kid!" he shouted, but Raven tackled him, her howl a war cry, buying Emily seconds. "They're not taking her," Ryan roared, tears streaming, firing again, clipping the operative's leg. Emily stumbled, tears falling, Grace's cries piercing the storm. "Daisy's leading us," she said, voice raw, following the puppy's tracks to a ravine where a rusted shed offered cover. Ben's deputies fanned out, gunfire echoing, but Voss's men were relentless, their flashlights closing in. Lisa's voice was urgent, tears glinting. "The chip's streaming live," she said, tapping her tablet. "Kids, in cages, M." "The feds are breaching, but Voss is there." Emily's heart shattered, tears streaming. "Other kids? Like Grace?" She choked, clutching her daughter. Scout's bark was sharp, pointing to a trail, a path to the safe house, Raven's instincts guiding them. "We can't stay here," Ben said, tears falling, shoving Emily forward. "The feds need time." But a new roar cut through, an SUV, black and unmarked, crashing through the pines, its headlights pinning them. Voss stepped out, his 65-year-old face cold, a rifle in hand, flanked by 2 operatives. "You're done, Harper," he said, voice like steel, tears absent. "Grace, she's my prize." Emily's scream was raw, tears streaming, shielding Grace. "You'll never touch her!" Ryan's tears fell, pistol raised, voice breaking. "You're finished, Voss." Daisy's growl was primal, her tiny form lunging at Voss, jaws snapping at his ankle, toppling him into the snow. Raven and Scout charged, tackling the operatives, their howls a symphony of defiance. But a third man fired, a bullet grazing Raven's flank, her yelp piercing Emily's soul. "No!" Lisa cried, tears streaming, diving to shield the dog, her tablet shattering. Ben fired, downing 1 operative, tears glinting, but Voss rose, rifle aimed at Emily. "The chip, Harper," he snarled. "Give it, or she's gone." Grace's cries echoed, Emily's tears falling, Daisy's yips a desperate plea. The twist hit like a thunderclap. A new figure emerged from the pines, a woman, 40, in a deputy's jacket, her face scarred, pistol raised. "Drop it, Voss," she shouted, tears streaming. Emily's blood froze, recognizing her. Tara Hayes, Ben's deputy, presumed dead after a car accident last year. "Tara?" Ben choked, tears falling, lowering his gun. "You're alive?" Tara's voice was raw, tears glinting. "I went undercover, Ben. Infiltrated Pine Net. Voss killed my sister. She was a target like Grace." Emily's sob tore free, tears streaming. "You knew?" Tara nodded, tears falling. "I fed the feds intel. Claire was my way in. She didn't know I was watching." Voss laughed, cold and sharp, raising his rifle. "You're too late, Hayes," he said, but Daisy's mother charged, jaws crushing his arm, the rifle clattering. Scout pinned an operative, Daisy's tiny form darting to Emily, her yips a rallying cry. Tara fired, grazing Voss's shoulder, deputies swarming, cuffs snapping. "It's over!" she shouted, tears streaming as federal choppers roared overhead, their spotlights bathing the ravine. Ben's voice was fierce, tears falling. "Feds have the safe house, Em. Kids are safe." Ryan tackled Voss, tears streaming, his voice a snarl. "You're done." Emily collapsed, tears falling, clutching Grace, Daisy's warmth grounding her. "You saved her, pup," she whispered, voice raw, Raven's howl echoing, Scout's bark steady. Lisa cradled her tablet's remains, tears streaming. "The chip. It logged everything. Voss, Ellis, the whole network." Tara knelt, tears falling, touching Grace's cheek. "My sister. She'd be proud," she said, voice breaking. The pine stood silent. Willow Pine's heart cracked open, but Pine Net was crumbling, and Emily knew. Daisy's instincts had led them to a truth that would stun the world, with one final battle ahead. The Willow Pines forest was a frozen crucible, the Colorado pines bending under a March blizzard's fury, their shadows swallowed by the glare of federal choppers circling above. Ducked Emily Harper crouched in a snow-dusted ravine, her auburn hair matted with ice, green eyes streaming tears as she shielded her 3-month-old daughter Grace from the biting wind. At 36, Emily's heart thundered, her illustrator's hands trembling as Daisy, their 8-week-old German Shepherd puppy, pressed against her, black and tan fur soaked, brown eyes blazing with defiance despite her tiny size. It was March 30th, 2025, and Willow Pines, once a haven of small-town warmth, was a battlefield. Claire Evans's arrest had exposed PineNet, a child trafficking network led by Dr. Alan Voss, with Mayor Ellis as his pawn. Raven's chip from Daisy's sanctuary mother had pinpointed a safe house holding dozens of children, and Tara Hayes, a deputy thought dead, had revealed her undercover role, shattering Voss's grip, but not his resolve to take Grace. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old veterinarian husband, knelt beside her, dark hair slick with sweat, face pale with rage, tears falling as he reloaded his pistol, blood seeping from a graze on his arm. "Feds have the kids," he said, voice raw, eyes locked on the safe house's silhouette, a mile through the pines. "But Voss's men are still out there." Scout, his German Shepherd, limped nearby, blood matting his fur, growling despite a bullet wound. Sheriff Ben Carter, a 50-year-old with a weathered face, directed deputies through the ravine, his badge glinting under chopper lights, tears in his eyes. "We've got Ellis," he said, voice grim, cuffing a beaten mare. But Voss is holed up, barricaded. Dr. Lisa Bennett, a 60-year-old wildlife biologist, clutched Raven's chip data, her gray ponytail frayed, tears streaming. "The feed's live," she said, voice trembling, showing a tablet screen of caged children, freed but terrified. Emily's sob tore free, tears freezing on her cheeks as she rocked Grace. "They're safe, but Grace," she choked, voice breaking. Daisy's yips a lifeline. Voss's operatives, marked by night fang crescents, had ambushed their cabin, and his chilling vow, "Grace is my prize," echoed in her mind. Raven, Daisy's scarred mother, stood guard, her glowing eyes cutting through the snow, jaws ready to strike. "Daisy knew," Emily said, tears streaming, stroking the puppy's head. From the first day she wouldn't let Claire near her. Ryan's tears fell, his voice raw. "She's our hero, Em," Scout Raven. "They're fighting for her too." Ben's radio crackled, a federal agent's voice urgent. "Voss is armed. Explosives in the safe house. He wants the chip." Lisa's tablet flickered, tears glinting. "It's got PineNet's whole network, names, buyers, accounts," she said, voice shaking. "He'll kill to get it." Tara Hayes, the 40-year-old deputy, her scarred face taut, tears streaming, checked her pistol. "I've been tracking Voss for a year," she said, voice raw. "My sister. She was his first target. I won't let him take Grace." Emily's heart clenched, tears falling. "Your sister?" Tara nodded, tears glinting. "He sold her. I was too late. Not this time." The safe house loomed, a concrete bunker hidden in the pines, its windows dark, smoke curling from a breached door. "We're going in," Ben said, tears falling, signaling deputies to advance. Emily's voice was fierce, tears streaming. "I'm coming, Ben, for Grace." Ryan's hand gripped hers, tears falling. "We're together, Em." Daisy's yips led the way, her tiny form darting through the snow, Raven and Scout flanking her, their howls a battle cry. The feds' choppers hovered, agents dropping ropes. But gunfire erupted, Night Fang operatives firing from the bunker, bullets shredding pines. Emily ducked behind a tree, tears streaming, shielding Grace as Ryan fired, downing an operative, his voice a roar. "Stay back!" Daisy's mother charged, jaws snapping, tackling a shooter, her glowing eyes fierce. Scout pinned another, his wound slowing him, but not his will, while Daisy's tiny jaws nipped at a third, tripping him into the snow. "Go!" Tara yelled, tears falling, leading the charge, her pistol blazing. Ben's deputies stormed the breach, but an explosion rocked the safe house, flames licking the roof, Voss's voice booming over a speaker. "The chip, Harper, or this place burns with the kids." Emily's scream was raw, tears streaming, clutching Grace. "He's bluffing," she cried. But Lisa's tablet showed a live feed, Voss, wild-eyed, holding a detonator, children huddled behind him. "He's not," Lisa choked, tears streaming. "There's a second exit. Raven's chip mapped it." Ryan's tears fell, his voice a snarl. "We're ending this, Em." Daisy's yips were frantic, leading them to a hidden hatch in the pines, Raven's instincts guiding. Scout's bark was steady, his blood pooling, but he pushed on, a guardian unbroken. They breached the hatch, descending into a concrete tunnel, the air thick with smoke and fear. Emily's heart pounded, tears falling, Grace's cries muffled against her chest. Daisy darted ahead, her tiny form a beacon, Raven and Scout guarding the rear. The tunnel opened to a chamber, cages, empty now, the children freed, but Voss stood on a platform, detonator raised, his operatives aiming rifles. "You're too late," he shouted, tears absent, but Tara's voice cut through, tears streaming. "Drop it, Voss!" She fired, grazing his hand, the detonator clattering. The twist hit like a collapsing pine. A new figure emerged, a boy, 15, gaunt, in a tattered jacket, holding a knife to Voss's back. "Let him go," he yelled, tears streaming, his face hauntingly familiar. Emily's blood froze, tears falling. "Tommy?" she choked, recognizing Claire's younger brother, thought runaway, now a pine net captive. "Tommy!" Claire's voice echoed from a holding cell, tears streaming, her cuffs rattling. "He's my brother. I did it to save him." Emily's sob tore free, tears streaming. "You sold Grace for him?" Claire's tears fell, her voice raw. "Voss, he'd killed Tommy." "I had no choice." Ryan lunged, tears streaming, tackling an operative, his pistol firing, while Daisy's mother and Scout charged, jaws snapping, scattering the rest. Tara cuffed Voss, tears falling, her voice fierce. "You're done." Ben's deputies stormed in, freeing Tommy, who collapsed, tears streaming, clutching Claire. "I'm sorry," he sobbed, tears falling. Emily's tears fell, clutching Grace, Daisy's yips a vow of protection. "You're safe," she whispered, voice raw, Raven's howl echoing, Scout's strength unyielding. The safe house burned, but Pine Net was broken, its children freed, and Emily knew Daisy's instincts had led them to a truth that would stun the world, with one final reckoning ahead. Summer sunlight bathed Willow Pines, Colorado, its pine-clad hills blooming with wildflowers, the scars of last spring's battle softened by time. Dr. Emily Harper stood on a grassy knoll outside the newly opened Grace Sanctuary, a sprawling haven of kennels and community spaces built on the ashes of the old wildlife sanctuary. At 36, Emily's auburn hair shimmered in the breeze, her green eyes bright with hope, a quiet strength replacing the terror of months ago. Grace, now a giggling 1-year-old, toddled nearby, her tiny hands clutching a daisy. Daisy, their German shepherd, no longer a puppy, but a sleek 9-month-old, bounded after her, black and tan fur gleaming, brown eyes vigilant, yet playful. Scout, Ryan's German shepherd, lounged in the shade, his scars faded, while Raven, Daisy's scarred mother, watched from a kennel, her glowing eyes soft but proud. It was August 2025. and Willow Pines, once torn by pine net's darkness, was healing, its heart reborn through a puppy's courage. The battle in the snowy ravine had shattered Pine Net. Doctor. Alan Voss and Mayor Ellis were in federal custody, their trafficking network, exposed by Raven's chip and Claire Evans's confession, dismantled across Colorado. Tara Hayes, the deputy who'd infiltrated Pine Net to avenge her sister, had freed dozens of children, including Tommy, Claire's brother, whose bravery had turned the tide. Claire, torn by coercion, faced a reduced sentence for cooperating, but the Harpers' trust was broken forever. The sanctuary, once a front for Voss's chipped trackers, was rebuilt with seized Pine Net funds, a testament to the dogs who'd fought for justice. Emily adjusted a microphone on the sanctuary's stage, her voice steady as she faced the crowd. Townsfolk, reporters, and Native American elders whose lore celebrated canine guardians. "This is the Grace Sanctuary," she said, tears glinting. "For our daughter, for the children saved, and for Daisy, Scout, and Raven, who showed us loyalty knows no bounds." The crowd cheered, but Emily's eyes were on Daisy, chasing Grace, her playful yips a far cry from the fierce growls that had exposed Claire's cameras. Dr. Ryan Mitchell, Emily's 38-year-old husband, joined her, his dark hair neat, his veterinarian's hands steady, tears in his eyes. "We almost lost her," he said, voice thick, nodding at Grace. "But Daisy, she was our hero." Dr. Lisa Bennett, 60, her gray hair loose, stood nearby, tears streaming as she petted Scout. "These dogs, they're family," she said, voice trembling. "They saved more than Grace. They saved us all." Sheriff Ben Carter, 50, his weathered face softened, held Tara's hand, tears glinting. "Tara came back from the dead," he said, voice raw. "And Daisy. She led us to the truth." The survivors, Tommy, now 16, and other children freed from Pine Net, gathered by a stone monument inscribed, "For the children of Willow Pines, March 30th, 2025, and their German Shepherd guardians whose courage broke the dark." Tommy approached Emily, his eyes clear, tears falling. "You saved me," he said, voice steady, hugging her. "Daisy, she saved us all." Emily's sob tore free, tears streaming, clutching his shoulders. "You fought for us, Tommy. You're family now." Daisy nuzzled him, her warmth a bridge to healing, Grace's giggle a melody of hope. The ceremony pulsed with life, Willow Pines community united. Ryan took the stage, his voice resonant. "Pine Net took our trust, but Daisy gave it back," he said, tears falling. "She sensed what we couldn't, protected Grace when we were blind." He gestured to the kennels where Raven and Scout rested, Daisy chasing Grace nearby. "This sanctuary's their legacy, a place for healing, for trust." The crowd roared, but a hush fell as Tara unveiled a new exhibit, a mural of Daisy, her eyes fierce, guarding a crib, painted by Emily herself. "For my sister," Tara said, tears streaming, voice breaking, "and for every child we brought home." A twist unfolded as Ben stepped forward, holding a leather journal, his voice steady. "This was Claire's," he said, tears glinting, opening it to a hidden letter. She wrote it before her trial. The crowd leaned in, tears flowing as he read. "I was trapped, Emily. Voss owned me, owned Tommy. I'm sorry. Daisy saw what I couldn't." Emily's tears fell, her heart twisting, the betrayal softened by Claire's regret. "She was a victim too," she whispered, tears streaming, Ryan's arm around her. "But Daisy, she judged true." Lisa's sob was raw, tears falling. She's our compass, Em. A final twist came as an elder, Clara, revealed a native artifact, a 1975 carving found near the old sanctuary depicting a German shepherd mother and pup etched with "Guardians of the Pines." "Our people knew," Clara said, tears glinting, voice resonant. The dogs were chosen, long before Pine Net. Emily's heart swelled, tears streaming, the carving a testament to Daisy's lineage from Raven to Grace's protector. "They chose us," she said, voice raw, hugging Ryan, Grace's laughter ringing. The ceremony closed with a drone display, Daisy's tracks glowing in the sky, the crowd awestruck. Emily stood with Ryan, Lisa, Ben, and Tara, Daisy at their feet, Grace in her arms, Scout and Raven nearby. "We're whole again," Emily whispered, tears falling, her mother's locket, found in the nursery wreckage, warm against her skin. Ryan's tears streamed, his voice thick. "Because of her." Lisa's hand found hers, tears glinting. "She's our hero." Ben hugged Tara, tears falling. "We did right." Tommy joined them, tears streaming, a new brother in their fold. The sanctuary's gates opened, visitors streaming in, learning Daisy's story, betrayal, courage, and a puppy's unbreakable bond. Emily knelt by Daisy, tears falling. "You're our heart, pup," she said, voice raw, Raven's bark echoing, Scout's warmth steady. Grace reached for Daisy, giggling, and Emily's tears flowed, the pain of Claire's betrayal fading, replaced by love. Pine Net was gone, but Daisy's light, loyalty, instinct, family, shone brighter, a beacon for Willow Pines and beyond. This isn't just a story of survival, it's about loyalty, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a family and their dogs. Daisy, Scout, and Raven saw what no human could, protecting Grace and countless others from a darkness that hid in plain sight. Their instincts broke. Pine Net, proving that even the smallest hero can change the world. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who believes in the power of loyalty. Tell us in the comments, what's your story with a loyal pet? Join our community because in Willow Pines and everywhere, the tracks of love never fade. Thank you for being part of this journey. Note, this is a fictional story crafted for entertainment and inspiration.